This is really where if anyone wants at any time, in addition to a training like this, you can access what we call HaulHub University. If you are a prime subcontractor and or material producer, then you can review the platforms we're going to go over today just to give you guys the context and also have a consistent resource for you guys to see how our platform works so that you can ensure your project tickets are connected to the state whenever you're running a project with them. So, um, as far as the general structure of how our platform works, agencies have their own instance of our portal, and their contract management system is feeding, our system with here's the contracts, here's all the staffing, consultants, and inspectors that need access on a daily basis. Well before any projects start loading out material. And so that's already taken care of from the agency side. And then from there, us at HaulHub, we are working with the producers to get connected with their plants or quarries so that whenever they are ticketing out a project, those are available. But once we have integrated with any material supplier, then the data is only in view for them for any of their projects that are coming into our system and tickets under those projects. Um, all suppliers can permission ticket access to not just the agency, but also to the primes and subcontractors. So if you are a prime contractor working with the state, you know that your material supplier is connected with HaulHub, but you would like access to your tickets, then you can request them to get you set up so that whenever they ticket projects where you are pulling materials from them, you can also have access to that in your own instance of the portal that we call Job Slip. Suppliers use Supplier CI, contractors use Job Slip, agencies use our EDOT application. So from there, I'm going to start with the suppliers who own the plants and where the materials come from and what they see relative to the complementary access that comes with the state utilizing our system. This is a demo account that we have set up at HaulHub. And when you get access to Supplier CI, then you will be able to see all tickets from all of your locations that we are connected with. You're going to see this page, what we call a tickets page, and every single ticket, starting with the last one that has been loaded or generated at any of your production sites, will be at the top here. We're going to have you set to be viewing like year to date all of your tickets, but this is a time frame that you are able to customize, and we have some quick select options if you just want to see what has been loaded out today across your plant sites. You can, or quarries, you can select this week, etc. But by default we'll have it set to year to date. You're able to search, and if you want to validate if a ticket has come into the system, or maybe you want to see if a ticket's under a specific job number, contract, or project name, you can search by all of these to dial in on any information, as well as you can set your own user account up to see all your material e-tickets by date if you wish. And then that way you have more of an organized view. This is going to letting us know in this account that you're viewing that there's been 339 ticketed loads on June 11th. And if I wanted to select all, download those, I could as a CSV, which is Excel, or I could get PDF copies of each ticket. You aren't limited to grouping by just date. You can group by any of these. So if you want to see, by date and by plant or vice versa, then you can set this up however you wish. And when you log in and out each day, this is what it's going to stick with unless you adjust it. So it's just a resource that you're getting complementary with the state utilizing our system on an annual basis. Now, importantly, how do you what we call calibrate in HaulHub, or connect tickets for a specific state project to the agency and all the inspectors? We have this page that everyone would have access for all users that we will onboard. So if you're a material supplier who isn't integrated with our system yet, or maybe you're a user at one of the suppliers that you have other personnel who are using it currently, but you would like access, then you can reach out to HaulHub support group to get an account, or talk to one of the folks that we've already set up, and they should be able to add you as well. But there's an IT administration page that we call that plays a key part in the supplier access. So I'm going to click there, and this is where you will be able to access who has a user account created for your company. Here's where you will be able to add others if you wish, or reach out to the support group, support@haulhub.com, and have others added if you need, or request access. From here, you're going to have what we call a e-ticket customers page. And if a prime or subcontractor reaches out to you as the material supplier or producer, because they have a job where they're going to get materials from your production sites on behalf of a state job, then you are able to add them here, or you can reach out to our support group, and and as long as we have a contact and the name of the company, we can manage this for you upon your request as the supplier. But all that needs to happen is the customer just needs to be set up. If we've received a single ticket from any of your plants with the identifier that you would label on your tickets and your plants would input in your plant system, then as long you can select them here, and then we will make sure that they have a matching HaulHub account, which you would then select. And then if they do, then going forward, they can have access to just their tickets based on how your plant identifies them as a customer. That's how the primes and subs can get access to tickets from a specific supplier in all their production sites. Once any prime or sub is added as a customer of a supplier, then either the supplier on their behalf, or the what we will get into on the contractor side of things and job slip, they're able to what we call calibrate any job to a designated DOTD contract. And so when we receive one ticket in our system underneath a specific project number and project information, then that is available here as a kind of header for you to connect and say, all tickets for our job number in this example, 65121, should be connected to whatever agency, in your all's case, Louisiana's contract number, which is going to be listed here. And this is a running list that is constantly being updated. And so you should always be able to find your contract here. And so once you select that, then your job is done as the supplier. And if you are also the prime or sub, or I should say the prime contractor that's bid on a job, then your job is done for making sure that the tickets under your project are also available for the inspectors who are assigned to just this state contract. Once that connection's made, you will know, because your job is going to disappear from under this DOT calibration page. You'll see it says the initial sub page is called unconnected projects. That will flow over to a connected project. And that's how you know that all your tickets for your job number are flowing to that one state contract. If you ticket from your plants, say it's a state contract that has multiple sites, you're running multiple crews, in a given day. So you might ticket different job numbers internally that apply to one state project or state contract number. You can connect as many of your jobs to the same state agency contract as you need to, if that is the case. Best practice is whenever the pre-construction meeting's being held, or 3 or 4 weeks out from a job being scheduled to load out asphalt or ready mix concrete or aggregates, print a sample ticket from your plant, and you'll see the project here. You're able to make the connection because your sample ticket would have the correct job number and state contract information on it. And then your job is done. You can void that ticket out at the plant. It's still going to be a connected project, so that when the first day that trucks actually begin to load out, you're already covered as far as making sure that those are going to be synced on the agency side. So again, as a material supplier, you work with HaulHub to get integrated. That if you're not and you're on this call, you can reach out to myself, Sean.Miller at HaulHub.com. Les and Patrick at DOTD have my information as well. And or you can reach out to support at haulhub.com. We will get you the information you need and set up an integration call. That's all done remotely. It's a software download that we work with you to actually execute. And before that, we will have a session and provide you documentation to answer any questions. And then from there, you have access to all of your tickets. You can control permission for any of the primes and subs. If any of your external customers that might be working with the state and need to make sure their projects are connected, they just need to be added one time. And then from there, you are able to calibrate project tickets to a state contract and all the inspectors who are already assigned on that contract. Any questions there before we move on to the contractor side once they've been given permission from the supplier? See, someone came off mute at Diamond B. Do you have any questions at Diamond B?
No, we're good.
Gotcha. Okay. Just want to make sure. All right. So if you're a prime or sub, but you're a general contractor, you don't have plants producing material, or you are, but you're getting material from another producer, then that's totally fine. Our system handles that. As we discussed, you just need to ask that producer to add you as an e-ticket customer, so that going forward, you're seeing only your tickets for your projects within what we call job slip. And so that kind of has a lot of similarities, but some differences to the supplier CI platform that producer suppliers use. So I'm going to jump over to that. And if you have been given access by any supplier, then you get this portal called Job Slip, which is also a mobile app based. And you're going to have a live feed, or you can reference it as a tickets page, where for the last 7 days, 14 year to date, you're going to be seeing the same thing, just a different kind of UI, different format. But you're going to see all of your tickets from any suppliers who have given you access at the top, which again, you can also organize in your own fashion for your specific user account, which we would work with you to get set up once we've gotten the initial list, or at least one initial contact from the supplier to onboard to this platform. So if you want to see all of your tickets, by date, you can do that, and you have the ability to download slips as well. You can click on the tickets and see the information. That's one thing I didn't actually technically do on the supplier side. If you want to expand and view a ticket without downloading it, then you just click on the ticket here, and this is where you'll see that information. So same deal with the job slip access for contractors. They get the same type of access to their material e-tickets. You also get what we call a My Projects page, which is going to be a little more organized up front of, every single project, which is based on what's the project number and the project name. That's how we, deem it an individual, project. That tickets under those two identifiers need to be bucketed under. So you'll be able to see, all your tickets for the different product descriptions on those tickets, with the summarized net quantities that have come from the plant, along with your ticket count. You got days worked here. That's just based on the amount of different days that we've seen tickets come through for this project, et cetera, which you can then click and view into that project and know that you're seeing, all tickets relative to just this job. Sorry. So it's really just a more organized page that mimics, all the tickets from the feed page, which this is more of an open concept. You as a user are able to organize this however you want. If you want to see things by, date, and then by plant as well, or by supplier, if you've been permissioned by multiple suppliers, then you can see that. And then the My Projects page will be just a project by project basis. The contractor also has the ability to calibrate the job. So you've been set up from any material supplier, and you are the prime contractor for a project. You are the one responsible for either ensuring your supplier has calibrated the project, or if you have this access, you are able to, whenever they generate a sample ticket, or the first loadout for a job, that's when it appears automatically in the system. And then you are able to connect it same way that we reviewed. You just go to DOT calibration. You will only have Louisiana, most of you at least. But if you do work in other agencies, you have one account. So if you work cross border, like with Oklahoma or something like that, whether you're a supplier or contractor, then we can set you up to be able to calibrate to multiple agencies. But in this case, Louisiana, and then you'll have the same running list of all their up to date contracts for you to calibrate and connect tickets for your job to the inspectors on this contract. Once you do that, then it'll be under a little bit different nomenclature. It'll be under DOT projects. That's how you know it's connected. If, as the contractor, you want to see the folks and the personnel at your specific company that have access to this, then you will be able to reference that here. And then you can also invite users within your company to your own job slip account as well. One thing to touch on, actually, I mentioned you need to reach out to us or we can do this, but you will actually be able to, if you work with a neighboring state, or in the future, there might be cities or counties, other agencies that are municipalities within Louisiana. Your one account will cover the ability to connect to any of those agency projects. And so all you need to do is go to My DOTs and search and add. That way, when you go to calibrate a project, you would actually see the appropriate agencies in addition to DOTD to be able to connect to. I'm going to actually pull up my mobile screen really quick because the job slip contractor access comes with the ability to see your jobs and your tickets on mobile. And while I do that, if you are a producer, supplier, and you are a prime contractor who bids on jobs, you get access to both. So it's not like you're restricted to just supplier CI. If you know, have plants we're integrated with, but also are bidding on projects as the prime. All right, let's expand this view here for you guys. So this is the mobile app that mirrors, our job slip portal that we just reviewed. If you are a contractor who has been given access from the supplier. So you're going to see on a daily basis whatever projects are running, and then you will be able to actually click into those projects to see the tickets. So this is basically saying that, for this project number 65120, the supplier that we're getting tickets from is, this, and then here's also, sorry, this would be your project name in our demo account. We just have it duplicating the project number, but this would be your project name, project number, your supplier, total amount of tickets, and a rounded net tonnage. And then if I click into my project, then I'm going to see, the tickets for the day, starting with load one, etc. If I want to view that even more, then I can click into here. And this is where I would see the ticket information. And you'll notice that, it says mark delivered. This is if you're a contractor, you want your foreman or folks out on site to be able to, verify if a truck shows up and if the inspector, confirmed delivery of that load. You'll have that visibility in here. When you click into the ticket, you would actually see DOTD, inspector section that would reflect like this. And once they are accepting tickets, then you'll see their date or their e-signature, date and time, and then any notes that they use. But you also, for your own projects, or for those same projects, can verify as well and keep track if you wish. But at the very least, most contractors use this just to view the tickets that they're getting on their projects. We also have some reports that we call clipboard reports. So this is where you're going to see like your trucking lineup based on all the truck numbers being ticketed, along with the timestamps. And if you click on any of these, it should bring up the ticket at the bottom that it's referencing. We'll have a round trip report as well. So you can track your truck times from plant to job site back to their next loadout. And a lot of other reports that, are pretty self-explanatory. Um, but this is just a tool that comes with the system that the state's utilizing and for suppliers and contractors to use. But the focus again for really this training is just making sure that you have a project coming up. uh, it's best practice to have your supplier who's going to be producing the material to generate a sample ticket so that the project and the ticket is automatically generated. Once you make that connection here, then you've done your job, and inspectors are going to see the data that they need to see for that project come day one of the trucks loading out. So if you're a contractor, whether you have access or not to job slip, make sure your supplier, makes that connection for you. And then it's hands off from there, as far as meeting the state spec requirement of providing e-tickets on that project. And one thing I would just encourage is if you go to our e-dot.com website and go to HaulHub University, it's free access to see how any of our platforms work. Doesn't matter if you're with the agency or not, you can go view how, the agency portal is set up. Same for suppliers and contractors. It's going to ask you to register. Don't worry too much about that. Let me go to where it'll say register really quick. So it says register free. It's very simple and easy. Just click this button and just add in. I'm already logged in, so it just keeps you auto logged in after you register one time. But you're just going to input your email and the password you wish. And then going forward, you don't have to keep logging in to go view the video breakdowns of how everything works. So these will be like 1 to 2 minute video breakdowns for each section that you'll get free access to if you wish. And it will narrate and visualize, how do you do everything from logging in to connecting to DOTs via the calibration page, et cetera. So it's definitely a good resource. And I know this is recorded, I believe, as well, and it'll be sent out. But any questions or comments from anybody? Yep, I appreciate everyone's time and let me kind of run through that as well. So
yep. Thanks. All right, appreciate everybody joining in, and thanks, Sean, for doing the training for us. Y'all have a good day.
registering to our HaulHub University is the same as logging in to any platform. It's going to ask you to register, and it's very simple. You are not limited to registering for just the platform that you're going to utilize and that we're going to review today. So suppliers who produce materials have access to Supplier CI, but if a general contractor wanted to see how they can use it, they can watch all of our videos that break down every function of each platform into like 1 to 2 minute segments to make it very easily digestible and allow for anybody to come and reference something specific that they want to get brushed up on or understand. So once you go to our website and click on HaulHub University, you'll be able to just click into any instance, for example, job slip for the contractors, and you'll just use your email and then set your password once, and then you get access to all these videos again, from logging in to how you can view your tickets, log tickets offline, etc. So we're going to review that all today, however. And to explain how our eDOT platform works and is organized, I'm going to just pop open. We have portals and apps for each entity. So the agency has their own mobile app and web instance. General contractors have a web and mobile app instance, and then the suppliers who produce materials have a web instance. And if you are a producer supplying material and you act as a contractor who bids on state jobs, you will get access to both job slip and supplier CI. So we integrate with the source of materials. So every supplier, and then they have all access to their ticket data in our system. They have to permission access to the state level, all the inspectors, consultant inspectors, et cetera, on a project basis to see tickets from their plants. And they are able to give access to any of their customers, external customers who might be pulling materials from any of their production sites for state projects. They can permission access by how they ticket out the customer ID at the plant. So we'll get into all that. Just wanted to make sure everyone understood kind of the setup and structure of our system. So let's start with how suppliers are able to utilize and see their information in what we call supplier CI. I already had this set up. I'm going to actually X out to what this will look like by default for any users who get access to this and need access to this. So within our system, we have what we call a tickets page for suppliers. And this is where across all production sites, once we are integrated, then integration is done remotely. By the way, there's no hardware involved here. It's very light. Can be done within an hour with our integrations team if you are not a supplier who's been connected with our system yet for the state of Louisiana. But once we get integrated, all your ticket data flows here across all your production sites, starting with the last ticket loaded out. By default, we have a year-to-date time frame that we're looking at here, but you are able to quickly see, what was loaded out today or this week. And once you hit save, then it'll filter down to just that time frame, starting with the last or most recent ticket. You are able to group this information as well as a user to view it in a more organized fashion. So if you want to see this week and you want to see everything coming out of one particular plant, then you can just sit grouped by and select plant. And then you're going to see tickets initially organized by plant location or quarry if you own quarries, whatever your production sites are labeled that we're pulling in. And then from there you can expand. So this is telling me that from our Boston concrete demo plant here, this is a demo account. Then I can expand from there and just see all the tickets from that side of the portal. I can click on a ticket to view what we call the raw data information. If I want to see that an inspector, if this was a state connected project, then you could see what an inspector accepts or not, and any information they add out in the field within their side of the platform. You can see any detail around that. You can see all the information here, the product breakout. This is an example concrete ticket, along with all the batch weights information in the instance of concrete. So you can select and download this data as well. If you download it, you'll see that you can choose to do it to Excel or as a PDF. If I want to select all tickets for this, plant across the time range that I've, detailed out here, then I can do that. And you can use that, or you don't have to, obviously, but this is what is available for you as the supplier. If you want to group by multiple instances, you can as well. So maybe you want to see, by date, and I want to see it by date first, then by plant, and then by product description. Then from there, what that does is, for today, I want to expand, then select the plant that I want to view material from, and then I can see by product description which group of tickets that we have, produce today. And if I want to select all there and download, then that's available. So that's a way for you to view your information and download it. You can also search, projects and information and how the data is organized is really based on the ticket data itself. So you can view things by job number, and that's based on the information on your tickets. So if you need to search or validate a specific ticket number, best practice is if you have you or your customer has an upcoming Louisiana state project, then as soon as you generate a ticket, it'll be available in our system for you to view and then connect, which we're going to go through next. Best practices is have the plant generate a dummy ticket or a sample ticket with the state project info, and then you're able to view it in here. You can connect that project based on your job information. And then the plant could void that ticket. And when the first day of loading out materials to deliver to the job site begins, you've already covered your basis of making sure that all tickets under the job number are already going to be in view for the inspectors that are assigned to the specific contract on the agency side. So you can search by ticket number to validate, a ticket or a job number of tickets has come through, et cetera. And with that, we'll kind of segue over to how do you connect tickets to a specific contract with the state of Louisiana and all the inspectors who have access to that contract. So every user will have an IT administration page in here. And they're going to be able to see within their own company who all has access, and if they need to, can have people added. The user identifier is obviously we need a first and last name, but the email. And as far as the user role goes, everyone gets set up as it's not showing here, but with the state's covering the cost of this. Just to reiterate for anyone who doesn't know that. And there's a free user role that we set you up on and that we can have you set up on. So if we go over to what we call DOT calibration, then this is where when we see a job number come through on a ticket for a state project or any of your projects, you get to choose when and how, you get to choose when to connect that, all the tickets under your job number and your project name solely to a state contract. So I generate the first truckload out for a project with Louisiana. I'm going to log into Supplier CI and I'm going to say, okay, our job number needs to be in all tickets for this job going forward should be under Louisiana's portal. And then this is going to be a preset list of all their contracts that come through our system or come through their contract management system for you to select. And all the inspectors and consultants should already have access to the project on the or the contract on the agency side that you're selecting here to connect your tickets to. Once you hit connect, then your job is done as far as making sure that all tickets under a specific job are connected to a specific state contract. So you'll be able to validate that as well, because under our DOT calibration, which again, we got to from IT administration here, then any projects that we see come through your plants are automatically unconnected and only in your view until you connect them. And then you can reference all the jobs and tickets for those jobs that are connected to the state. Now, if you have external customers who are going to pull material from your production sites for the state, then they need to be set up under your e-ticket customers list one time. And so how this works is you can just hit connect, and this box number 1 is going to show all the customer identifiers that we've seen come through your plant. So whether you ticket out the customer name or a customer ID number, we have a field that when we get integrated, we pull into, the customer description, and all the customers you ticket from your plants will be available here. You would select that customer, and then we would have an account set up for them in HaulHub that you're going to say going forward, all of our, in this case, there's probably not a sample Becker demolition HaulHub account, but we would make sure there was, so that you could say going forward, any tickets that we produce at our production site for Becker demolition should be reflecting for Becker demolition's HaulHub account. That's going to be the contractor side that we're going to get to next. You do that one time, and then going forward, that contractor has the ability to see all their project tickets from any of your production sites based on how you guys are ticketing them at the plant. The HaulHub support group can handle this as well. If you were to send an email to support@haulhub.com, a list or just one customer, we just need to know the company name and give us at least one contact for us to reach out to so that we can get them set up as a user in their own contractor account within JobSlip. But then you're also able to calibrate projects for them to the state once they're added here in this list. So just to kind of recap, Supplier CI gives the supplier producing materials access to all their tickets and the ability to control access to any of their customers, as well as what we call calibrate or connect projects to specific state contracts. The state contracts and all the inspectors for those contracts, that's all handled, by on the agency side, on the DOTD side. You don't have to worry about that. You just got to connect it, and then your job is done. Any questions really quick before we jump over to the contractor side of our platform? All right. And if you do think of anything, feel free to type in the chat. And we'll pause again for questions. So no worries. I'm gonna move over now to what we call JobSlip. And so this is where once a contractor is given access by a supplier, they can see all their project tickets from any of the production sites that supplier owns. And they get some similar views here and some similar capabilities with a little bit more capability on the mobile side, which I'm going to show that after we get done with the website here. So they have a tickets table as well that, they can filter on a specific date if they want, or specific date range, but we can quick select, what's the past 7 days, 14 days, year to date, etc. Same instance here, they're able to see all their information. They can click on a ticket and see the data for their material truckloads, see the product breakout if it's concrete, see all the same information, right, that's coming from the plant on that ticket that would have been on the paper copy and is now on the digital copy, as well as, once a project is connected from the plant to the state contract, then they can see what the inspectors are, signing on, and there'll be more fields. This dummy account doesn't have every, field available unlocked here, but if you want to see what the inspector put for temperature, if it's asphalt or marks any waste or slump or anything like that, then they would see that here along with the e-signature of when and who marked the ticket as what we call delivered or accepted out in the field. Contractor review is really just on the mobile side, which I'll be showing soon. The contractor has the ability to, whether it's for a state project or it's not, if they're seeing all their projects come from the plant within JobSlip, they can use that. Their foreman can have that to also mark tickets as delivered or add details. And so that's just for the contractor to use as they wish, in addition to just seeing the information and being able to download it. So on this tickets page, you can group by certain column headers. If you want to see things by date and plant, you can, for example, or by date and product, and you can expand and select all, and your download button's up at the top here. CSV Excel, same thing, or PDF. On the supplier side and here, just a note, you notice it says add all fields in CSV report. So if you don't click this, then the fields you would get in your Excel download when you've selected a group of tickets, the columns in that Excel document will match the columns you have set from left to right here, which you have the ability to control whatever's visible that you want for your own specific user account. Whatever order you have from top to bottom will be the order from left to right. If there are other fields with information in it that you want to be visible in your default tickets table view, then you can pull that over Like if you wanted your net tonnage to be reflecting, then I'm going to go, put that under ticket number, for example. And maybe you want your gross as well and your tear. You could go find that. Let's see, I'll pull tear in here. Then if I save, then going forward, like I would see all my gross, tear, and net in the order that I have there. As long, and same goes with if you don't want to see something, then you can move that out of the view here. So that's what would be in your Excel sheet. If you do hit download and select all fields, that means that every field available that would have information in it is going to be in your Excel sheet as a column. Within job slip, there's also a more organized kind of view by default to see things by project based on project number and project name. And then this gives you like a summary without you having to set up your tickets table to view how many loads for a specific mix and for what quantity of net tonnage, or if it was concrete, net cubic yardage has been ticketed from the plant. The statuses here, these are statuses based on what you as the contractor would mark as delivered. This is not telling you what the inspector has done if it was a state project. Again, job slip can be used for all projects that a contractor might operate with. So this is summarizing what the contractor has marked on the mobile app. If you click view project, then you're going to see the same kind of summary, but you could have an automatic PDF summary that's a daily delivery or daily laydown or placement report. Think of it that way. If you just put your email here, then just hit save. And that means that from this day on, you're going to receive a report at noon each day summarizing the prior day's shift, if there was one that was within this time frame. So by default, this is like a 24-hour time frame that would encapsulate either a day or night shift from yesterday, for example, that would deliver to your email each day. And so you can adjust this time shift time range at any point. But this is a good way to have an automatic, nice structured email sent to you, summarizing by material, your load count and, net tonnages or cubic yardage. In addition to the supplier being able to connect a project and view what projects are connected to the state, the contractor does have the ability to do this. They have their own calibration page as well, where whenever the ticket for a job we see come through our system, then that will automatically create the project. And then if the contractor does have access from the supplier, then they can also connect the project job number to, in your all's case, Louisiana, and see the same list of agency maintained contracts where all inspection crew has access on the agency's behalf. And then once they connect it, it goes from your all projects page to DOT projects. These are the projects that you would know the DOT is able to see tickets for. And if not, they can't see tickets. One thing that I want to highlight, because it is showing here, this is not something that you should do unless you are for certain that, given this is a new process, new platform, maybe you connect the wrong job and tickets for this job to the wrong state contract. Maybe you go through and you're only going to see Louisiana to select. You're not going to have to sift through all these agencies. But maybe you select the wrong contract on the state side. So the materials for your project are showing to the wrong set of inspectors, et cetera. It's not the end of the world, very easily fixable. You would just go to your connected projects over on the DOT side, or if you're operating in Supplier CI, go to your connected project bucket and just hit disconnect. That'll immediately pull all tickets for your job that have been loaded so far out of the contract on the agency side in their view. That way you can go back and then just reconnect it to the right project. So that would be the only instance you would want to do that. Obviously, you don't want to disconnect a project unless you are for certain, whether you catch it or you hear from the state that hey, these project tickets aren't for our, project we're actually working. And as far as, user management, as a general contractor, if you get access from a supplier to see material tickets from their production sites, we just need to get one user set up under the contractor's account and job slip. And from there, they can manage their own personnel access. There's a handful of roles here, but really the only relevant ones would be ops all jobs and manager or read only manager. Um, Ops means that you would have to, as a manager role under your contractor account, you'd have to go to my projects and click view project. And then if you click edit, then you would have to give those folks access, which again, you may want to do. That's totally fine. And because if anyone's an ops role, they don't see projects and tickets for projects unless they're actually added to a job. But if you don't want to have to fool with constantly managing maybe foreman access to projects or et cetera, then if you just under your My Company page as the manager user for your account, invite and set it to ops all jobs, then you don't have to fool with that. But an ops all jobs personnel cannot invite others. So it kind of explains, the difference between these roles. In the future, one thing I do want to touch on is you see this My Network page. If other agencies within the state of Louisiana, or maybe you work across border with Oklahoma or another neighboring state, you just need one account in our system to be able to connect projects to any agency. So if cities and counties and municipalities eventually procure their own version of or their own account as an agency separate from any state DOT, then you are able to go to my DOTs and just search and add that as a agency you're capable of calibrating your projects to. So very easy to do there. If you want to see a list of suppliers who have set you up as an e-ticket customer, then you would see that list here. And so then you would know any suppliers under your purview that have set you up as a customer, you know that you're getting tickets from the production sites for those suppliers. Now I'm going to pull up the matching mobile app that correlates with this. So every user who gets set up on JobSlip uses the same login, so a mobile number and a password to log in to either jobslip.com or the JobSlip mobile app, which looks like this. Once you get that downloaded, you log in, then you're going to see all of your tickets for what we call today being from 5 a.m. all the way out to 5 p.m. And then after that, we would consider like night job tickets to be after 5 p.m. But this is customizable. When you log into the app, if you want to see, all tickets umbrellaed under each project across a certain time span, you can just, adjust your start and end time. Hit apply, and then that's what you would see here. But in this example, I'm in my account and I see everything organized by project first. And I can see this, Concord Station project for this supplier. Here's my project number. When was it last ticketed? There's been 57 tickets for a rounded tonnage of 569 net tons if this is asphalt, which I'm going to then click into. But you can see, you can actually, filter on if I want to see just asphalt jobs, then our system is able to label, what is an asphalt job versus if it's aggregate material or if it's, concrete, etc. So if I click into this project, then I'm going to be able to see my 65 tickets. And we have a status that's automatically set to pending unless, whether this is a state project or not, any of my folks out in the field, has marked a ticket delivered as the contractor. So I'd be able to see that. And then starting with load one, you would just have on down the ability to accept your own material that you're pulling out of your own plants or someone else's plants to the project to know when the trucks have arrived. I can click into the tickets here. So this is ticket number 69125 in this example, your load 7. This is your truck number, your net weight with the product description, sorry, net tons or cubic yardage. And then if I click into it, I'm going to get to the same view we were looking at on the web, where I can expand my quote unquote raw ticket data is what we label it as, but just all my ticket information in one bucket. And then what are my product breakout, and then batch weights. And then at the bottom, this test account is for the agency city of Seattle as a project. So if this project is linked to DOTD, you would be able to see, as the inspector, mark this ticket delivered yet, added any information, et cetera. So obviously, if there's multiple mixes being ticketed on a given shift, you can, zero in on a specific type of mix for tickets that you want to see. And it'll filter for you, those tickets only, so long as you stay filtered on a specific mix type up here. I'll just show you really quick what marking a ticket looks like. So if you hit mark delivered, then that becomes a delivered ticket. That load 1 disappeared from my view because by default, we're only showing you pending tickets so that you're only seeing trucks that have left to be, marked by you as the contractor. And then if you want to go back and see like any tickets that you've marked delivered, just add the ticket status so that it stays in your view, starting with load 1, and then you would just work your way down as the trucks are arriving on site. We have this cool kind of page called clipboard reports that I really like. If you click on that, then it gives you like some trucking analytics. So all the truck numbers being ticketed for your project on this day will be listed here, and then for every load each truck is done from left to right, it'll span, and it gives you like for this pretty straightforward. You can hit this little information symbol to see a description of what it's trying to tell you, but. The first truck was loaded out for the day was C139 at 7 a.m. If I click 7 a.m., I'm going to see the exact truckload ticket at the bottom pop up with my ticket number that if I wanted to tap on the ticket on my mobile device, then it'll take me into the raw ticket data level. And then we'll highlight the last truck that's loaded out and that timestamp. And then we have things like, loaded quantity or round trip. So a round trip for us is the date and timestamp that we grab when a truck loads out, say their first ticket of the day. But every time a ticket's generated, there's a date and timestamp of when it was created at the plant. And then they go and, deliver that material to the job site. They go back and pick up their second truckload of material. That would be one full round. And the difference between the first truckload ticket date timestamp and the second will give you the amount of minutes it took them here. So for every round, you can see maybe which trucks are running a little slower than others if you wish to have that detail. And then, a lot of these are fairly, self-explanatory. Here, again, you can hit an information button that will explain to you exactly what the data is telling you. And so loaded quantity, for example, would just be every time a truck's loaded out, how much quantity was for that truckload that you can then select and view that ticket. And then at the end, you got your kind of quantity by material type to see a quick summary of how many truckloads and for how much net quantity have we taken from the production site to the job site, as well as a project overview. So this is just for today, or if you're working a night shift, you would be on night job. But then we have a My Projects page down here that will track, the running total of a job throughout its lifespan. So however many days you work, we're going to give you that project card here for how many total truckloads and for how much total net quantity, which, this total you would want to then obviously just dive into the project if there's multiple materials to see what the actual breakout of material quantities the plant has actually produced for the project, or that you guys have actually, pulled from the source. Then you can scroll down and see specific dates. So if I want to go back to May 29th and see those two tickets for some reason, I want to go reference that on the mobile app, then you can do that. Just go down and then you'll see the loads there. This shows you, like, if you have an account and you first log into the mobile app, I didn't show it, but it'll prompt you to add an e-signature so that if you're a foreman or someone on the contractor side out there on the field affirming if a truck showed up and the material was used, then you have the ability here to mark it. And this is a demo account, but it would actually show the name of your company here, but your e-signature, your name as a user, and the date and time, along with if you want to add any notes yourself, then you can do that under the contractor instance. And that's really pretty much it. Any questions on job slip, web or mobile? Or if you had a question on the supplier side as well, or just a general question. And again, this is all cost free. The state, any state agency procures our system on an annual basis. The cost of that, covers the ability for us to get integrated with the suppliers and all the production sites across those suppliers. And then, you can communicate with your supplier you're pulling material from, if you want to request, that they set you up as an e-ticket customer so that you can see project tickets on JobSlip. And myself and support at HaulHub.com would be your go-to. Or if you're the supplier and you don't want to, mess with maintaining this, but we just need to know, if you shoot myself or support at HaulHub.com an email, hey, we want to add, this customer, here's the contact, can you reach out and get them set up? We will do that for you. Or you are able to do it yourself if you hit connect here, either way. But with that, I'll turn it back to you, Les.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it, Sean. Thanks for doing that for us again.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Go have a good day.